destroying the destroyers of the earth.
It was once said by a man far more intelligent than I that patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. I want to talk about those guys in the militias, the gun lovers, the 3%ers, the oath keepers, the Boogaloo boys, the Proud Boys, everyone on the right who loves to throw around the word patriot. They think you can only be a patriot if you're on the right. The problem is they don't understand that we on the left are patriots as well. We just don't like their version of patriotism. So, throughout history, and one of the best examples I think of when it comes to trying to understand this patriot movement is the brown shirts in the early part of Hitler's rise to power. So, as a history lesson, when Hitler began his rise to power, as he was speaking in the beer halls in Germany, he needed a protection force to quiet the naysayers. These men were taken from the lower class, the unemployed, or those who worked in menial labor. Many on the right will mention the socialist aspects of the early party movement of the Nazi Party. Though, if investigated fully, one will learn that Hitler protested the use of socialist label. But he was later convinced to use this label in order to gain support from the unemployed lower classes. He had to champion those who he thought were disgusting, the people who worked in menial labor. But if he appeared to be their champion, then of course they would follow him and do whatever he asked. Very similar to what's going on today when it comes to these so-called patriots and President Trump, soon to be ex-President Trump. The party used the socialist label in order to gain support from the disenfranchised, unemployed men who would make up the brown shirts. Hitler would espouse socialist promises that the uneducated class bought hook, line, and sinker. These brown shirts, or stormtroopers, were the muscle, the brawlers. If any other group tried to protest the new Nazi Party, it was the brown shirts who attacked them in the streets and shouted down their voices of opposition. Very similar to what's going on today, except they don't wear brown shirts anymore, they wear camo. Today, since the election of Trump, there has been a similar rise of these brown shirts in America. In America, we do not call them brown shirts. We call them patriot groups or militia groups. As I said before, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the 3%ers, these are the same unemployed menial job workers that made up the Nazi brown shirts. These are the brawlers, the tough guys, as Trump once referred to them. They are the MAGA people. They are loyal to their party and will defend the party no matter what. They are the ones who dress in military garb, even though most of them never served or were dishonorably discharged due to mental and drug-related charges. They are mostly cosplaying as they blame the Mexican people for taking their jobs. As I said, these people usually work in the menial jobs, which I've always said, if a Hispanic person can cross the border and take your job, then your job is pretty crappy. Also, they maintain this white supremacist ideology as they prepare for an approaching race war. They carry with them weapons and use these weapons to intimidate. Many have been involved in mass shootings and are unhinged and likely to buy into conspiracy theories such as QAnon and Pizzagate. They believe in false flags and are predominantly Christian. Their insane hyperbole states they are for the police and the government, But in the very next breath, they discuss how they might have to overthrow the tyrannical government. You see them, they carry the Blue Lives Matters flags and talk about how they're so patriot and they love America, but yet they want to go to war with America and kill police officers and kill the military members in the streets. They say they support the military and refer to themselves as patriots, but they prepare to fight the government and that same military that they say they support. Also, when a group that they look down upon, such as Black Lives Matter or any other disenfranchised group, when they try to protest and do what is guaranteed to us in our Constitution, these same patriots curse them and shout them down. But when the shoe is on the other foot and they feel like their rights are being trampled upon, they're the first to be out there in the streets carrying their flags and marching and talking about how they're not going to follow the laws. You know, they say they love the Constitution, but it's their version of the Constitution. They love the American flag, but mainly they fly either Nazi flags or Confederate battle flags at their rallies. When they protest and threaten with weapons, they are patriots. But if any leftist group does the same thing, then they are thugs and domestic terrorists. They even have their own propagandist organization, the NRA, that supports no gun laws at all. But even the NRA supported gun control to disarm the Black Panthers when they had weapons. In 1967, 30 members of the Black Panthers protested on the steps of the California State House armed with loaded weapons and stated, "The time has come for Black people to arm." This display so frightened politicians, including California Governor Ronald Reagan, that it helped to pass the Mulford Act, a state bill prohibiting the carry of loaded firearms, which was supported at the time by the NRA. Full of hypocrisy there. This was the strictest gun law ever passed. Make you think, Ronald Reagan, the Mulford Act, strictest gun law ever passed. The right's way of thinking is it's fine for a white man to have a loaded weapon, but if the other people get the weapons, the people that we consider undesirables, oh shit. These people remind me so much, and I think they are, I don't know, how would I say this? If you were to take all of these MAGA people and these militia group people and put them into one person, I think that one person would have to be Chris Kyle, the American sniper. Chris Kyle was the supposedly deadliest sniper in American history. But over time, we have come to learn that Chris Kyle was not a hero. He was a lying psychopath. In his own words, in his best-selling autobiographical book, American Sniper, he said he enjoyed killing and that he looked at the people he was there to protect as his brothers and those who were against him as animals. He lied about his military record. He even had the gall to say that he killed American citizens during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. But Chris Kyle got what he deserved. Karma is a bitch. He was not killed in war, and he did not die a hero. He was killed by a fellow American soldier at a gun range, and this powerful hero was shot dead and found with his own gun still in its holster. For those men that sit at home playing Call of Duty, Chris Kyle was a man's man. He had a beard, tattoos, and he used the Punisher symbol the same way the Nazis used the death head to intimidate others. What the left needs to realize is that these so-called patriots are just liars and intimidators, like their fallen hero, Chris Kyle. The movie made about Chris Kyle's life, titled American Sniper, was the highest grossing military movie in American history. It made a lot of money, but it was a lie. The part where Kyle was going against the Olympic trained Iraqi sniper was fabricated. There was no enemy that used power tools on civilians, and Chris Kyle did not suffer from PTSD, according to his own words. Remember, in his own book, he said he enjoyed the killing. In the movie, he is shown as a quiet, humble family man, while in real life, he was promoting his book and continually lying about punching out Jesse Ventura and killing 2 men who tried to carjack him at a Texas gas station. The entire movie was propaganda, and it reminded me of that movie Inglourious Basterds. In that wonderful movie written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, we have an end scene where all the Nazi leadership have come to watch a Nazi movie made about a decorated sniper. The Nazis gathered, laugh, and cheer as the German sniper kills American soldiers left and right. The movie about Chris Kyle was propaganda, and many of those unemployed losers want to be him, those in the militia. They buy gear with the Punisher symbol on it. They buy a long rifle and camo at the Army Navy store. As for the first time in their miserable lives, they feel powerful. Sure, they were bullied in school, but now they have a gun. Now they have the power. Still, down deep inside, they all know they are weak and that their lives are complete and utter failures. Also, think about that movie called The Patriot with Mel Gibson. And I want you to look at that movie flipped around. So in that movie, you have the British Army that invades or comes to fight in the American colonies. They show up on Mel Gibson's front porch. They arrest his son and they execute his other child. This enrages Mel Gibson. He then hides in the woods using guerrilla tactics to attack the British Army and kill them all. Then he leads an insurgency of regular men and fights against the British Army in guerrilla tactic ways. That kind of reminds me of the way most forces that we fought since World War II has warred against us. When you get to Vietnam, you get to the insurgency in Iraq. We, the Americans, are the British Army, and the people we call terrorists are Mel Gibson's. You know, they always say one person's patriot is another person's terrorist. It's all about point of view, what side you're on. So, it's a very insane thing to ponder. Another comparison with the MAGA people and the Nazi brown shirts is how they were able to shout down opposition whilst the average citizen believed they were just crazy, a small fringe group with little or no real power. These brown shirts were able to secure the platform that allowed Hitler to spew his hateful message. Today, the MAGAs are doing the same thing for Trump. Like Hitler, Trump built his platform on the brutality and force of his own stormtroopers. The MAGAs storm the scene and shout down any who dare stand up against them. They use the visual threats of carrying weapons to run the good people out of the scene. This is how all fascist leaders take power. The leader has his thugs take care of the dissenters while the good people stay quiet. You might ask, am I saying we have to spill blood in the streets? Yes, I'm saying this. The war began over a century ago. In the South, the KKK used the same tactics to enforce their reign of terror over the black man. Christian groups and preachers like Steven Anderson in Arizona have called for all gays to be killed. The El Paso shooter killed people just because they were Mexican. Dylan Roof killed people just because they were black. They are already waging a war. These people are not crazy. This is what they believe. Good men and women in Germany thought Hitler was a lewd, and they discounted him and his party from being a serious political movement. They were wrong. We have to take the war to them. How would the NRA respond if somebody shot up one of their conventions? What if somebody shot up a gun show? You know, when it happens to you, that's what changes your mind. If somebody shot up a gun show or shot up an NRA meeting, I think the NRA would change their tune. You know, the people that preach peace have been marching for, 100 years? And they haven't got anywhere. We march while they kill. We are thugs when we protest, but they are patriots. This is not our country. We are warriors deep behind enemy lines. We have a criminal president, and we have criminals that protect him. Trump tells his soldiers to knock the hell out of them. I have the tough people. We are already in a Cold War. They're killing us a little at a time. They kill us by placing people in leadership that do their best to keep us quiet. The right now has the perfect leader in place. And if you think they are going to let him go, you're a fool. Biden may have won, but the war is not over. We will be labeled as agitators. And when their plan is fully implicated, they will round us up and kill us all. You might think this can never happen in America. America is run by its people, and people have never had a problem killing when they can justify it. They will find a way to justify it. The Bible says to kill the gays, so they will kill the gays. Black people are supposedly super predators and gang members, so they will kill the black people. Mexicans are crossing our borders and invading our country, and so they will kill the Mexicans. They can always find a way to justify their horrendous acts. Washington, D.C., or the District of Columbus, was named for Christopher Columbus, a man who was a slaver, a rapist, and a murderer of native people. We have to wipe away every sign of the evil in this country. After World War II, Germany tore down every statue and every sign was removed that had anything to do with Nazis. People say that we're going to erase our history and we're going to forget. It's been 100 years, 90 years since the Nazis were destroyed. Has anybody forgotten? You know, can you not turn on the History Channel and not see a show about Nazis? When something is that evil, you're never going to forget. It's been, since the 1860s, since the Civil War. Has anybody forgot? Nobody's going to forget. That's hyperbole and it's bullshit. You know, one of the things the right likes to say is, oh, if you tear down all the statues, we're not going to remember our history. Nobody's going to forget. These relics need to be thrown away because you put up statues to honor men. You don't put up statues of scumbags. Germany tore down any statues that glorified the Nazis' rule. There were no statues that people could venerate, no relics, no martyrs. That's what we need to do. The Allies destroyed books, paintings, tore down Nazi architecture, and blew up symbols of the Nazi rule. They erased everything that could be a Nazi shrine. That's why we still have the problem that we do today with the Confederacy, because these people have their shrines. We need to get rid of them. Washington, D.C. is a virtual showcase of American might and history. We denazified Germany, but we kept the history, the concentration camps, so that we will never forget. When finally we tear down the symbols of the old America, we will cover them over with a garden of the district of the children, where again we will run and play and not marvel at the great buildings that gods had built. They were not gods, they were men who only craved wealth and power, and now their bones and their blood nourishes the flowers in our garden. There, thugs and brutes are fed on by worms.